Today, I'd like to introduce Andrew Nash, who is going to speak to us about sweet green arborists and natives. Let's give him a warm Traction Thursday welcome.
Hello. Okay, I'm not super practiced at public speaking, and this is a little bit kind of thrown together, but really glad to be here. And I am an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for about 2/3 of my adult life. I don't know if it exactly entrepreneur, but I've been self-employed about 2/3 of my adult life. And mostly what I've done is tree service. And I've done it in California, a little bit in Oregon, and then for 5 full-time years here in Iowa. And I'm also an environmentalist. Let's see, I'm gonna forward this here, and there is a very brief background. My girlfriend helped me put this together because I've been busy, and also my computer died. It's been about a month, and so I was kind of struggling how to do this. She had a computer which we couldn't find the charge cord for, so we were sort of scrambling. Finally got this together, and she put this together with my help, mostly last night and a little bit this morning. But so, basically, I'm a forestry graduate from Humboldt State. I became an arborist in 2000. Started coming out to Fairfield in, I think it was 2012, and then 2014, I began working for Bob Casella, who had expert tree care, or expert tree service. And he had a back injury and was a little bit stiff, and he saw I was a good climber, which it's a gift of God. I just became a good climber. I'm not good at a lot of things, but I'm good at tree climbing. And so I've turned that into a business, and I love trees, and so I care for them when I prune them, and I pay attention and all that. But as I moved through my years and career, I felt like just trimming trees was not enough. And I don't know, it's been about 3 years where I learned about Doug Tallamy and the Bringing Nature Home movement, where they're encouraging people to put native plants back in our gardens because there is not enough native plants out in the world. If you guys look around, I believe something between 90 and 94% of Iowa has been altered due to agriculture and development. So there's very little actual native areas left. Also, there's a huge invasives problem. The shrub layer is the worst. If you guys would see the area between forest and kind of grassland is mostly occupied by this non-native honeysuckle plant. And so there is very little native plants. And I've learned a lot about native plants to a large extent due to Steve Taylor, who took me under his wing a couple years ago and said, this guy actually cares. I'm going to spend some time with him, help teach him. He's going to be back in Fairfield on Sunday, so it'll be good to see him again. But he's a longtime nursery person. He does a gig for a couple months in Long Island. So he's out there right now. I think he may be kind of finishing that up and coming back. But so I asked him at this talk a couple years ago at the library, hey, what would it take for me to add native plants? We started talking, and he had some suggestions, and he, actually the first year, it was 3 years ago, I made a lot of missteps, I gotta say. What I did, and again, another person that I'm gonna thank is Muna Askar. You guys may know her. She is also like a nature-loving person. I think she is either just graduated or maybe has another year as a MIU student. And we were sitting at my house one day, and she was like, you're wanting to do this native plant thing. I know about the DNR. Let's just go ahead and order like some hundreds of plants. And it just got me the inspiration to do that. So we ordered 450 native trees, plants, and shrubs at that time. And they were bare root. and we got them, and we potted some of them up, and then I also planted a bunch in people's gardens. And there's one project that we planted out. I feel a little bit bad because these are just little baby things. They're not much of anything. We planted them out and we put little cages around them, but they need some care, and you're not going to get 100% survival. And so that was a bit of a mistake to just start planting them out and just charging for them, because they need some babying. Or you just got to say, okay, we're going to get 50% mortality. We're going to get a lot of things that are going to die. We got heavy deer browse issue. We got heavy rabbit browse issue. And then we got periods where it's not going to rain. And so you're not going to expect 100% survival. You're not going to expect they're going to look great. And so that was one of my missteps. But I'm an entrepreneur. 5 years later, I started my business in 2020. I'm still in business. I'm rocking it, more or less. I'm doing the best I can, but I'm still in business. I'm making a living doing this. I'm making a living doing tree work and native plants and plantings. And I've made a lot of missteps, but I try to correct them. I try to do right by people. And my inspiration is my love for nature, community connection, and a willingness to try things. I am a bit of a risk taker, a little bit, not a huge amount, but yes, I'm a bit of a risk taker. I will try things. But it's also the community that says, yes, we want these native plants. Yes, we want to know about them. And people like Polly who's saying, yes, I want to work with you. Yes, I support what you're doing, and all these clients. And truthfully, I have more work than I can handle. And a lot of it's tree work. That's sort of what pays the bills mostly, but I've sold in the last 2 years more than 10,000 each year worth of native plant, either installation or plants themselves.
You have to use the trackpad on your computer to get it.
Okay.
You're good.
That's work. Just hit forward. There you go.
There we go. So what I'm not real strong at is social media, technology. I'm kind of weak at it, but I do it a little bit. And but I'm a hardworking person, and I try to hear what, put my ear out there. What do people want? What is successful? What's making me money? What's not making me money? That kind of thing. So let's see. What did Michelle put together for me here?
There you go.
Oh, community resilience. We saw this, and I said, yeah, go ahead and put that one in there. So part of what I'm doing, and Faith is involved in this project, is to try to make our community a stronger community, more local. And one of the shirts that we've made is localism, the solution to almost everything. And I do kind of believe that mostly. So I've also very, very minimal that I've done much with this, but we're starting a little t-shirt line, and that's one of our t-shirts, localism, the solution to almost everything. And we have Rewild the Midwest, that's another one. And my brother has mostly designed that, and he's actually going to be moving out here soon, so that's cool. Yep. Rocky, who you guys know, right? Yep, he's going to be moving out here. So yeah, I totally believe in localism and community resilience and collaboration. And so I've rented this warehouse. It's an old warehouse that has a courtyard, and it's a really great location. And all spring I've been having open Fridays where people can come in, look at my plants, buy plants, talk to me about trees, plants, projects, and sold some stuff. But it's also just a place to throw around ideas. And except for the 2 weeks that I got to go to France, which was awesome with my other brother, I've been there every Friday. And I've had some volunteer, just amazing support with that. My mom has come down a lot of the times. She lives here in Fairfield. And then this lady named Leon. It's at 612 West Kirkwood Avenue. And I'm going to continue that, even though last Friday was the first Friday we actually did not sell any plants. but every other Friday we have, because it's kind of the end of the season, and so we don't have too much, and people are sort of moving on from that right now. But yes, I'm also doing some other things there, and people can see that. I really like this idea of closing the loop with trees to mulch to firewood to milled wood products. So here are some of the natives, and this is just one of the, 10 projects that I've been involved in, plantings. And this one is in front of Breadtopia, and this one we planted, this is year 2 1/4. And everything's starting to look big. We got about 1/4 of the plants died. So there's about 25% mortality, right? But look at what we got. This is marsh milkweeds looking big and bodacious. This is called oxeye sunflower. We've got, this is probably a garden phlox right here. This, I'm not sure what that is. It might be the beard's tongue penstemon. I'm still learning. This is a germander, I believe, and that seems to be kind of encroaching and taking over. And first I was like, no, it's taking over. But then I was like, actually, it's native and it's kind of filling in the spaces. And then so I've also added a bunch of plants this year, or a handful, not a whole bunch, but some plants I added this year, and to try to fill in some of the spots where things died. And I just really appreciate Breadtopia for throwing down some money and saying, hey, take this spot and do what you will with it, and pretty much letting me do whatever I wanted with it. And then we put in local garden projects. I don't know if that's the exact right headline, but recently there is a group of people that said, yes, we want to get more involved in native plant gardening. And this was separate from me, and it was some people, I think Susie Hathaway, not sure, is that right? Okay, she's kind of was the organizer, and there was a meeting at the library about a month ago, and I did happen to go to that. And then there was a garden tour, and I went to that. It was next Wednesday, and this box right here is from that garden tour. This is Diane Porter's place. You guys may know Diane Porter. She is an epic native plant gardener and birder, and her and her husband, is it Michael Porter? Yeah. I believe. They have a business that's selling high-end binoculars to people because they're really into birding. And anyway, she gave a tour, and it was very impressive. She collects native plant seed and learns all about them, and then is growing them out in this box with the mesh over it. So I was super impressed. Took a couple photos. Used this one. This right here is a greenhouse that I built for my mom because she loves gardening, and she wanted to help with rearing some of the baby plants that we're growing. And so this is a greenhouse that me and my helpers put together. That's me planting some trees that Steve Taylor organized, got a grant for the city. So again, it's kind of a community effort that I'm a part of, and I'm seeing developing. And there actually is money to be made in this field. People do care about nature, they do care about their gardens, but generally it has to kind of look good too. And so I'm kind of learning a little bit how to do that a little bit better. How can we make these things look good? And how can we also limit our wasted time? How can we do it more efficiently? I'm definitely learning some lessons. So timing is big. Planting these trees, we timed it really well. We planted those trees, I think this is by the cemetery on North B Street. And Steve, that's a honey locust tree from a wholesale nursery down in Missouri called Forest Keeling. And Steve's introduced me to that nursery. We've been down there I believe 4 times to buy wholesale plants. And he also piggybacked the purchases for the city and the grants that the city was getting. So we were kind of working together, kind of supporting each other with the plants for Jefferson County and the city and the plants that I have been selling. Let's see what's next here. Okay, so this is my place down at 612 West Kirkwood. This is the outside, and this is the building, and it's an old building that people have told me it used to be a dojo. It used to have some manufacturing there. Some of you guys may know it better than I. I've been renting it for 2 years and a couple months now. And the other side, which is over here, is now being rented by someone named Chris. I'm not sure of his last name, but he is totally into community. He's into music, he's into food, he wants to bring people down there. So we're talking about different types of collaborations and making it like more of a community space. And it's very slow in developing that way, but it is developing that way. And this is some slabbed wood. I bought a bandsaw mill 2.5 years ago. And at first it was in my house, but now I've brought it down to the nursery site, whatever. I'm not sure what to call it, but and we do milling down there. And this is some of the slabs. Those are like 2-inch slabbed oak. And we've built some garden boxes with it. The oak is really heavy, so it's hard to move around. And I don't have a loader. I don't have a front end loader yet. But we can put a ramp on there, and we have these log PVs, so we can sort of manhandle it and get it up there. And then, unfortunately, I don't have a picture of the mill. But what it is these 2 tracks with the carriage sitting on it, rolls on it, and has the bandsaw mechanism, and it just cuts through it, and you set the level with this crank. It goes up and down. So that's been fun, and we have been paid for a few projects with the mill, and I hope to do more. And I'm also learning about the drying and other stuff, and would love to have this develop into another income stream. And so some of this can be used and sold. What's the question? Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say I thought it was really neat how you were able to offer a customer to be able to use the wood that you were chopping down.
Yeah.
And between your mulching machine and the mill, I just thought that was the neatest thing, that they get to actually use their wood from the trees instead of somebody just taking it away.
Right on. Yeah. I feel that way too. I've had this desire to more like this, completing the circle, like using the wood in a more productive way.
One thought.
Yeah.
They've already been there, but raised beds are sold online all the time.
Yeah.
Why not have a local wood raised bed kit that you have advertised that everybody's or Hy-Vee or online? Because the other thing is people periodically have to take really good trees down for whatever reason. They call you, you take down the oak tree or whatever it might be.
Right.
And then you pay them back in a product kit.
Yeah. Yep. Stuart, that's it. That's good. I'm trying to get there, but it feels like this year we're kind of working out the kinks a little bit, and I feel like we will get there, or I don't know if we ever get there, but we're going in that direction.
Or at least just put it out there that you can make people raised bed kits or raised beds.
Yeah.
So that instead of me going out and buying one online, I know that you're out there.
Yeah.
With an option.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a great idea. So here we built this awning with the lattice there, and we've got a bunch of the native plants. About 2/3 of them that we got from this wholesale nursery down in Missouri, and then we've gotten plugs, and we've grown out a few, and we've transplanted a few, and and you know, we've sold a lot, and it's sort of just a growing and developing thing. But my tree service sort of allows this to happen. And now I'm working with a couple other people that are sort of sharing the space with me, so it defrays costs, and we can kind of collaborate and share equipment too. So that's good. Okay, also I do tree work, and there's me up in a tree, and I just thought it was a beautiful photo. I often use ladders to get up in there, and then I set my rope, and then I figure out where I need to go and how to set my rope and how to trim the limbs, the dead wood, and do it in a safe way. And I've been doing this for over 20 years, and it's a lot of fun. It keeps me in shape. This is me in France with my brother wearing the Rewild the Midwest shirt. And I just thought this was just such an epic photo, and I just was able to, with this business, take a 2-week vacation to France and Switzerland. There's me. And there's my mom at the farmer's market. We've been to the farmer's market maybe 3 times this year, and we were selling some plants and just doing some outreach, because really we don't make much money at the market selling plants. But it's a great outreach opportunity. Very short slideshow. But I guess that's all we got in there. Let's see if we got any more. Nope, that's it.
Questions?
Sure.
What questions do you have? Oh, here you go.
Hey, Andrew, great talk. I just was curious if, in addition to yourself, there's maybe a larger team. It could just be you, and that's super great. But I just wondered if there's other people you're working with and how you guys work together.
Absolutely. I generally have 1 to 2 employees or employee contractors that work with me on, 2 to 4 days a week, and that can move around. And then I also have other people that I kind of collaborate with, like Polly here. She's a gardener, and we've been kind of helping each other out with mulch and jobs, and like, can you help me with this, that? I've got another fellow who's a tree guy, and he does things a little bit different, but he's a pro in his own way. And so TJ and I have been working together recently, and I'm totally down for a collaboration, and as long as it is a positive, mutual positive experience. And that's how I feel like it's being successful, even though it's messy, is that I invite other people's energy and ideas and collaboration. And sometimes I cut it off because it's not working for me. But yeah, there's other people. I'm down there every Friday morning. If people want to come and talk to me, I'm down to talk, and I will be open to ideas. I've tried to interface with MIU a number of times with limited success so far, unfortunately, but some. And anyway, yeah.
So, while you're out there doing what you do, and thank you for that, the beautification is wonderful. Are there practices or behaviors that you see residents, people like me, that are innocently doing that are horrifying for you? Or another way to put it is, what would be some best practices that the common person in Fairfield could do to beautify or prevent invasive species or prevent, bug control, like the emerald ash borer, et cetera? Do you see common mistakes people make? And if you do, what are those common mistakes that we could easily start changing tomorrow as residents?
Common mistakes. Well, I guess one of the things that I've been educated on too, I'm not a pro in native plants. The only thing I'm a pro at is climbing trees in a really savvy way. But I'm a Californian transplant to here, so I'm learning the plants here. I've learned a lot, but I guess what I would say is that getting rid of lawns is a good thing for the native bees, insects, birds, and it can also reduce your water use. Your mowing can be healthier for your trees because there is a different soil environment that trees thrive in than grass. Pesticides and herbicides can hurt trees as well as the bugs, and also bugs are good. So even though some of the bugs, we don't like them because they're eating our plants, or in some cases they are really killing things like the emerald ash borer. So we do have to handle them. But I don't really have a pithy response to that, Alex.
No, I'm not looking for one. I'm just because you're an expert and you see other people's gardens and lawns, I thought maybe you may have observed things that make you crazy or things that you think are wonderful practices. And certainly the trend about removing lawns or transplanting lawns for organic gardens, et cetera, and pollinating gardens seems to be a trend, which is, I think, is pretty cool. So,
yeah, I would say I've definitely learned some things about how to do putting in native plants better than when I started. One of the things is that if you have a lawn, you want to convert it to native plants. Don't take on a huge area. Just do maybe a 10 by 10 bed or something like that, and you want to kill the grass. So you can either dig it up, which is a lot of work, or you can cover it with cardboard and mulch, wet it down, and then plant through those layers. So you could even put soil down a little bit above it. But native plants don't need real rich soil, and sometimes you enrich the soil too much, you're going to get more pioneer species and sort of weedy plants.
okay, that's interesting.
One of the things that has been really interesting is when you're talking about, removing the grass and stuff. I was just wondering, is there equipment that maybe, I like how you share equipment and how you use it for more than just your own purposes. You offer it to allow other people to get what they need done as well. And I think that's so cool. And I was just wondering if there are maybe some equipment that could make it easier to remove the grass, because I've done it by hand with just using my my edger and just making the edge and then literally taking a shovel under and scraping off the top layer of grass with the roots. And that is really hard work.
It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work to dig out grass. There is turf removal machines, and maybe it's worth it if there's enough of that, call. But one thing about that, not only is the cost and maintenance of machines, but if you don't want to remove too much of the topsoil, and so if you're removing the grass, then you're also removing some of the nice soil, which is depends. Maybe that's okay. Maybe
I had a Zephyr, Zephyr.
Yeah.
Well, she had a job where she was trying to plug in grass in places, so I was saving the best pieces for her, and she plugged them in another project that she was doing.
Yeah, reuse. When I plant trees, that image of me standing by the tree, what I always do, and I think it's a good practice, is to with a mattock or something, just pick out all the grass within about a 2-foot radius of the tree, and then dig the hole, plant the tree, maybe amend it a little bit if the soil's deficient. But grass really competes with young tree roots, and so removing that grass when you're doing a tree or a vegetable garden, or the native plants as well, but the kind of the lasagna method where you put down the cardboard and the mulch and maybe a layer of compost as well is quite effective. I've gone back, like I say, it's a year and a quarter since I planted Breadtopia, and you guys could take a look at that. It's on North B Street there. And there is very few weeds there. There is some weeds creeping in on the side, and I went back there a couple days ago, and it's starting to creep in. And so I'm just digging out the weeds that are starting to creep in on the side. But yeah, I want to work smarter rather than harder, and as you all do. I mean, working in the hot sun is hard work. Yes.
Hey, Andrew. It looks to me like you're on a trajectory to become what in traditional terms would be a nursery arborist type service, but with a nativist and closed loop ethic driving your business. And so it just seems to me like there's some education that goes along with that, like you're doing for us right now. And I think of myself in the home garden, both vegetable and flowers and fruit trees. And I'm thinking, where do I spend my money? Well, when a big wind comes and lops off the top of my tree, like you know, because you came and cleaned it up, that's where I spend money. When I need soil amendments and go to Faith, and like if I need a load of mulch or soil, let's say my soil's just crappy, which is some of the case, and of course the native plants. But you're in a position, if you can tune the dial to people like me, to say, go to Andrew rather than Iowa City Nursery or Oakwood because of the local closed loop idea. So I just encourage you to get yourself out there in front of us.
Here you go.
Yeah, and to work with Stuart's thought, what can we do for you, Andrew? What kinds of things do you need? What could the community provide to you to help further your business?
What can we do? Wow, that's an incredible thought, Bob. I mean, just kind of be continuing to be supportive of it. Buy mulch, I guess.
Provide your down trees
I mean,
so we can
Bob,
make more mulch.
Bob has been a big supporter of me already. I mean, you hire me every year for something.
You're my guy.
Yeah, thank you. I'm learning, and I'm doing the best I can, and I make some mistakes, and sometimes my prices aren't the best for the plants, but I really do believe in local. And at this point, I don't have the source. My mom's greenhouse is 7 by 8 or something. It's just a small little thing. Yeah, and if there was a local, like possibly the MIU farm, if there was a local place that could grow out a bunch of plugs, that would be awesome.
What's going on with that big greenhouse that's right downtown that has the heat all winter?
Oh, Voorhees, Josh Voorhees' place.
Voorhees.
Growing veggies.
Yeah,
Veggies.
it's recently been purchased and fully occupied.
Again, this is the intent of Traction Thursday is very entrepreneurial focused. I'm curious to know a little bit about your business journey, not your business per se, but what were some of the business lessons that you've had to learn and or overcome as you build this out?
Well, that's a good question. I feel like, almost every day I'm challenged in some way with my business, whether it be people that work for me that aren't doing the right thing or something. So equipment that fails me, computers that fail me, my own self that sometimes doesn't want to get up and work. I would like to create a team, and I am sort of doing that. And as my brother Boaz says, we are creating an ecosystem when I think that's happening, but it's messy. And so there's new challenges every day. And most days I'm up for facing them. And I also have to sometimes make some hard decisions because something's not working. And I got to say, you know what, this isn't working. We're going to have to change directions.
Right. Are you an LLC?
I am an LLC, yes.
Okay. And you have no employees, but you have some strategic partners. Is that correct?
I have decided as of the end of last year to not have employees and use contractors. And I was using employees, and I still have people that I direct, but they are private contractors. So maybe it's a little bit messy, but it's kind of works better for me. So one, I don't have to carry their insurance, and two, if they're really not doing what I need them to do, I can say, you know, I'm going to use someone else for this little while, because, you know, this last job you didn't work out with me too well.
You answered my next question was, you know, what made you decide to go with contractors versus employees, which is a very common challenge as small businesses expand. You can hire somebody, but it comes with insurance, it comes with some liability, it comes with headaches when they don't do the job, and it comes with a heartache if they have to leave, you have to backfill it, and there's some panic. So you went with the contractor. Are there other sort of business hurdles where you've had forks in the road where you've had to say, I'm going to go this way instead of that way, despite what might be otherwise a traditional business decision?
I mean, I have to make decisions all the time as a business person, and I think capital and personnel are a big part of helping me decide what I can and can't do. I got some trucks that aren't exactly ideal for what I do, but I make it work, and I'm looking to get a more appropriate truck later, but it's like I'm always having to make do with what I have now, both with equipment, personnel, energy, just that sort of thing.
You are, and I can say this with a really good smile on my face, you are truly an organic entrepreneur, and in more ways than one. I'm absolutely fascinated by your story. As you have grown your business and as you're getting into this, you're still learning, you're still growing and scaling and making decisions. Who do you go to for advice? Where do you go for your business counsel? Or is this just something you look up on the internet? Or is this something where you just wait for divine intervention in the middle of the night and scream out of bed saying, oh, this is aha? Who do you go to? Who are your advisors, and how do you get that counsel?
Well, I've sought out colleagues, I guess I could say. And so I talked to them, and one of them is Eli Morgan. And he's another arborist. And instead of considering him a competitor, we are people that talk about issues in the arborist trade. And I had a very great conversation with him last night. I'm doing a job that's actually his job today. He subcontracts jobs. I'm also working with another gentleman named TJ, who's a seasoned professional. And I'm working with some gardeners that have proven their salt as well. And then as far as like higher level business counsel, I haven't done great with that. Bankers,
lawyers, anybody like that? We just pick their brain?
A little bit, but I don't know. I don't know. I've always been a small kind of business kind of guy, but I can see that the business that I'm doing, there's a call for more of the native plant thing, and there's the tree business. There's always call for more tree business, but it's hard to find competent foremen. It's hard to find competent climbers, and so it's hard to scale if you don't have a foreman that you can turn things over to. It's hard to scale if I can't trust someone else to do the tree job.
Yeah, that's very interesting. One of the points you make is a challenge I have when I work with startups. They look at their competitors as competitors, not as colleagues. And I try to explain them exactly what's happened to you. They'll end up sending business your way unwittingly, and they aren't your competition. They're actually there to help. And the other thing I know when you work with perceptive competitors, at the end of the day, they are colleagues, and misery loves company, and it's amazing where you can swap stories back and forth and share resources. So it's actually a benefit, especially in the small business community. So I applaud you for that.
I totally agree with that, and I totally believe in that. Of course, I don't collaborate with every tree service or every nursery, but the ones that I agree with and get along with, yes, I seek to collaborate with them, and we actually share equipment too. So that's economically beneficial.
Cost savings, absolutely. These are very shrewd business practices that you're doing unwittingly, but out of necessity, and right. You're figuring it out, which I think is awesome. Other questions? Here we go.
I'm a little bit out of the loop, sorry, Andrew, with the conversation you're having with Elle about our lawns in the back there. And, as I drive out on, I guess, B Street, I see all these beautiful little yellow flowers around on the right next to the margin. Are those native or non-native?
Non-native. That is bird's beak trefoil, and non-native.
Well,
But it's not the worst of plants.
the reason I'm asking is, as you know, we're interested because of the construction. We have big, huge, I guess, tire tracks, and that's torn up that back north lawn. And so we're going to do something with it. And the latest idea is to get a low mow lawn where it's full of clover that might hopefully outcompete the grasses. So are there native low mow kind of plants that?
There are, and I'm just starting to learn about them, so I'm not an expert. But I started getting into ground covers this year, so I have a handful of ground covers that I've planted in a couple gardens and getting to know. So there are, so just a couple that I would mention is a wild strawberry that's done quite well. They send out these runners, and they just want to kind of populate an area. There's, of course, native grasses. There's a bunch of native grasses that we can start using. There's native sedges. There is other, especially for the shade, there's things like wild ginger, bloodroot. There is one called tiarella, foam flower. There is one called barren strawberry with the yellow flowers. And of course there's way more, but those are the kind of the ones that I'm getting to know.
That's great. That's great. We have time for one more question. Here we go. Hold on one sec.
Is there other experts in the natives real close to us, or do they get together? Is there conventions?
Yeah,
Is
there's
there
this
meetups. Yeah.
Well, there's this native garden club that's forming, and so there's been a series of garden tours that have been happening. I went to the first one, and this is just a brand new, freshly minted thing. I think her name was Susie Hathaway that did the original meeting, and that was only like 5 weeks ago. And then that one of the garden box that I showed with the little cells, that was Diane Porter. She's a very knowledgeable person. And Steve Taylor, all of those people are, well, Steve Taylor and Diane Porter, more knowledgeable than me. But I'm younger and taking it on as a business, whereas they're not exactly.
And you can climb trees.
I can climb trees, yep.
I don't know if I've ever met a professional tree climber. That's awesome. Andrew Nash, thank you so very, very, very much. What a great presentation. SweetGreenArborist.com. If you have tree issues and want to start doing some planting, I highly recommend Andrew. He's doing a great job.
Thank you, Alex.
This is great.
Appreciate it.